Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Ammunation. I'm your host, Craig Bragg, and with me is my co-host, the Zero State Solutionist, Mr. Irving Twin. How are you, sir?
Living the dream. How you doing, Craig?
I'm all right. Just checking our monitoring. I've got the stream going up here on monitor. You know, yeah. I'm thoroughly impressed by StreamYard. It keeps adding these awesome features. So, for instance, I have this intro that you guys see, but normally up until today, I'd have to hit go live and then time it to click that intro video in perfect timing, just so that it would like start and start the exact right time, because there's a bit of a delay when you go live. But now StreamYard has this option where you can choose an intro video, and as soon as you hit go live, it immediately defaults to that video and starts playing it. So it takes a load off, Hey, how did we go from 3 to 1 like instantly? Oh, we're back up at 4. Welcome to the Ammunation, folks. Thank you for popping by. Thank you for joining us. You should like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends. Tell everybody about this awesome program that we do every other Saturday night when we're not doing Casual AF. So, Mr. Twin.
Yes, sir.
What's new? N-word F-slurs, says Pox Toxic.
Well, that's old, but what's new? I'm sick. Ugh.
Yeah, you've been fighting this. It's not the coof, it's something else.
I have no idea what it is. Like, I feel fine. I had one day where I was like feverish, but I've just been coughing all week. Like this terrible, like fluid, phlegmy chest cough.
Do you get rails? Do you ever get rails?
I don't know what that is.
It's where you hear a bit of a crackle in your when you breathe, in your throat or in your lungs.
All week, every breath, yeah.
Yeah. I've had that now for 3 months, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this is driving me nuts. Now, mine's allergy related, but yours is due to some sort of infection.
I imagine, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I hope you're feeling better soon. I'm glad you're here tonight. But has this affected your attendance at the gym at all?
Yeah, like, I mean, on the off chance I was contagious, I didn't want to go to the gym and spread it. It's already a cesspool of disease anyway.
That's Planet Fitness.
People, that too, but people get staph infections in 3 places: hospitals, prisons, and gyms. So, yeah, I didn't want to...
Explain staph to me. What's staph?
Oh, Staphylococcus.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like your standard colds kind of thing, or?
No, it's like... it's not MRSA. Right.
I don't know. It stands for something, right? It's an acronym, STAPH, right?
It's just short for Staphylococcus.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Staphylococcus pneuma something. Yeah, it's some sort of like respiratory infection, and people die from it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you get them in 3 places: hospitals, prisons, and gyms.
Vocal syphilis.
You gotta stop. So I didn't want to be a source of spreading throughout the gym, right? Don't give them a reason.
Especially all those cum garglers there at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, don't give the government a reason to shut down gyms again, right? Like, I don't want to be patient zero at the Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness is where the blue hairs go to work out.
No, yeah, like, and mine is like the most membered gym, Planet Fitness, in all Canada.
Oh, really? It's got the highest membership. Wow.
Yeah. And like, when I go in there at any given moment, there's maybe 2 or 3 people that are actually doing like a workout.
Yeah.
Like a smart workout, a well put together workout.
Yeah.
That looks like they work out.
Right.
And yeah, everybody else is just sort of like there.
Well, I'm still at Good Life, but I'm thinking of going back to Movati. And part of that is the reason I left Movati to go to Good Life was, one, it's a little bit cheaper than Movati, not much, like $10 a month maybe, right? But also I have friends who work out at Good Life, and it's 24-hour, like 5 days of the week. So I'm like, I can go anytime, that's kind of convenient. But the machines are not as well put together. Like, they're not as good machines. They're not as comfortable. And 2, they're missing a couple of machines that I really, really like.
Which ones?
And the standing lateral raise machine. You know which one I'm talking about? It's 2 bars that come down. You put your hands on, you lift them up, and you do a lateral raise. Well, they don't
I
have
didn't
that.
know that was a thing.
Yeah, Movati's got one, but Good Life, they have one where you put your arms in and you lift with your elbows.
Elbow.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm told that's actually superior, like, in
might be,
terms
but I
of
don't
being
like
able
it.
to isolate your shoulder. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't like it. But I don't find it comfortable.
Hmm.
But so I'm thinking of going back to Movati. Plus, they have a pool, and the wife has expressed an interest in doing aquafit. And since I don't really do cardio with any serious regularity, I'm like, aquafit probably would be a good thing, right? Plus, it'd be great if, if she came to the gym with me. I think that'd be,
Yeah.
I love that. So we'll see, though. I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll do LA Fitness. Maybe I'll shop around. The good thing now is Canada, you don't get locked in at gyms anymore. I think the Canadian government said, no, you can't do that. You join a gym, they can't lock you in for a year. You can leave anytime you want. They try and strongly discourage you from leaving, but they don't.
Well,
I don't believe that they can. If you sign up for a membership and then you have second thoughts like 30 days later, or you just find, every time I come, I can't get on a machine. You say, I want to quit. It used to be, it's like, oh, you can't quit. You're signed up for a year. You can't leave at least for a year. Well, now I think the government's came in and said, no, you can't fucking do that.
holy shit, Ajax.
Ajax,
Yeah, suddenly.
good friend went into the hospital for a minor surgery, ended up with MRSA type of staph infection. He was dead within 10 days. Holy fuck.
Yeah, so suddenly I remember MRSA is medicine-resistant Staphylococcus aureus.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, good call then. Yeah, I have a buddy who goes to the same gym as me, and he has. I mean, I think he's back now, but he hadn't gone for like a month because he was feeling sick. So maybe you're right. I'll be like, I go to the gym. Like I've had this cough now for months, ever since allergy season started, and it's allergy related. I find I'm short of breath. I get the rails, like the crackling in your throat, and I wake up in the morning with a big phlegmy cough. But I'm sure it has to do with my allergies because I don't feel sick otherwise. It's just that. So
Before the show, I had made a joke, almost a joke, that yeah, what I cough up looks like what they pull out of vaccines in the morgue, all that white crap coming out of their arteries.
Yeah. Yeah, they fucked us all up. Speaking of which, Greg Wycliffe did an interview with, I guess it was at a PPC event. He did an interview with a doctor who's basically Canadian doctor who's come out and started talking about how the medical system in Canada is basically completely corrupted and people are coerced. Doctors are coerced into basically towing a line.
Or they'll have their licenses revoked.
Or they'll have their license revoked, right? And this guy's basically, he's come out and started talking about it. Yeah, and it was especially around the time of COVID. He's like, when he heard about the COVID deaths and all this sort of stuff and he saw the body bags in China and stuff like that. It's like, oh, this is really serious. But then he said, when I started seeing that they were using the testing, what do you call it? The rapid tests that they were employing, like ad nauseum. He's like, I knew there was something up because those don't work. They're for genetic testing. They're not for like you just have to run it a few thousand times more and you'll get a false positive. So they're not accurate. It was like they were trying to make the numbers seem high, right? So he's like, yeah, he was at a PPC event speaking about it. So it's kind of interesting talk. If you haven't seen it, you can go over to Greg Wycliffe's channel, check it out. But yeah, I've been out to the gym this week. I'm on next week I think is week 4. Yeah, I'm doing a 5-week mesocycle. So the next week is week 4. And then this my deload week after that. I kind of think the deload week's kind of pointless, but they say do it, whatever.
Well, I mean, yes, deload week is a good idea, but do you feel like you need a deload week?
That's the thing, right? Do I feel so fatigued after the 4 or 5 weeks of working out that I'm like, "I can't do this anymore"? No, I wouldn't say that that's the case. Now, maybe I'm not lifting hard enough, or maybe I'm just recovering really well. I don't know, but
Because I mean, I never go, okay, I'm gonna do 6 or 7 weeks of this and a deload week. I just go to the gym until I'm like, holy shit, I am fucking sore. And sometimes
yeah,
I look up and it's been like 3 straight months, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, you know what I'll do?
I'll take a
I'll
week
slow
off.
down for a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
Squid.
I'm thinking I maybe instead of using the app to, determine what it is I'm gonna do, I think I just go back to being holistic and just, you know what? I wanna grow my chest, I do more lifting on my chest. If I wanna grow my shoulders, I do more lifting on my shoulders, right? So,
Yeah.
focus on those things. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let's get off this topic because I don't have a lot to talk about it. Let's move on to the big story right now. Return of the King. You know, I was looking back at my library, and it turns out that episode 47 of Ammunation was called "The Return of the King." But the reason I've made it this title is because he's back in Butler, PA today with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk made an impassioned plea for everybody to get out there and register. I don't know. Did you see any of it today?
No, I mean, I just bits and pieces. I should have sat down to watch it, but I didn't plan
Yeah, I
for it.
only got snippets here too.
Now, I know Donald Trump is witty. He's quick,
Yeah.
he's clever, but I would not begrudge him a writer for the way he opened the fucking show.
Why? How did he open the show? What's wrong?
He walks onto the stage and the first words out of his mouth. So, as I was
As I
saying,
was saying.
and the chart is up there. Yeah.
Ah, that's hilarious. That's
The
good.
crowd went fucking wild, right? Like
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I mean, it's and it's such an fu to them, right? To the people who tried to kill him, who is, of course, everybody knows is the U.S. government, the deep state. Um, he gets up there and starts dancing to YMCA, basically thumbing his nose at them. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you. I'm gonna dance here before I go behind the glass. I don't fucking care. Fuck you, people. Yeah. I gotta hand it to him, man. Like, guy's got swagger. You know,
You know, say what you want about Donald Trump, but the man cannot be killed.
it's true. It's that bulletproof spray tan, man. Elon called himself Dark MAGA. Yeah, he had a black MAGA hat on. Yeah, I'm Dark MAGA. Oh, he's kind of cringe himself sometimes. He says some pretty corny shit,
Oh yeah.
but he's genuine at least. To be. He's not trying to be cool,
No,
or he
he's
is trying to
genuinely
be.
great.
He is trying to be cool, but he comes off as legit cringe. You know, so
It's
so. Anyway, yeah, no, it was good to see him back at Butler, PA, and he gave a shout out to Corey uh,
Comparatore.
Murtor, the guy who died and when he was shot at, and the crowd started chanting Corey's name, which is good, and we love him for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm convinced now. Did you see the vice presidential debate with JD Vance and Tim Walz?
Oh yeah.
My God, what a fucking train wreck! I want to say that's a worse train wreck than with Biden.
It was a beautiful train wreck.
Yeah,
I've got some fun memes maybe we could share.
absolutely. Let's do it.
Like there was that point in the debate they were talking about, guns, and Tim Walz.
I'm friends with
Tim
school.
Walz says, I've become friends with school shooters.
Yeah, that's a son of That's fucking hilarious. He's doing his gay Richard Simmons fucking prance on the Columbine footage. That's hilarious, man. That's fucking good. Yeah, Vance destroyed him. He absolutely destroyed him. You know what? He's it's got to be an embarrassment to the Kamala team because he clearly wasn't vetted. They called him out on his lies about Tiananmen Square, and he gave this nonsense answer. And went and said, "I'm a chucklehead," or "I'm a knucklehead. I'm a knucklehead." And now there's a meme going down with a picture of him saying knucklehead and a picture of her saying chucklehead. But what do we got here?
This one look at the
Hi, Dad.
camera.
Did you wash your hands? Mia said, yes, with soap. Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
This,
This is the perfect side by side picture. Now I know it was at different times, but the fact that
it's the tone of the whole debate.
Exactly,
it's the tone of the whole debate.
Yeah, he's looking at people going, "Really, this fucking guy?" You know, and he's like, "What am I doing?" He constantly had deer in the headlights look. There was even a point where Walls made an argument. He made some statement about Vance's position, and then Vance responded with his actual position. And Walls is looking at his response, and he gives the expression of like, "Okay, yeah, fair enough." Like he didn't say it, but he basically conceded, "Okay, you're right," just by his body language. It was insane.
There was a deeper strategy employed right from the beginning. If you were, yeah,
Stern looking, Walls is looking soy and panic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there was, from the beginning, you could tell the whole thing was against JD Vance, the moderators against him.
Yeah.
And I can.
Yeah, once again.
But JD Vance did something really fucking sneaky, really fucking early.
What's that?
Without Walls making a statement at all, he says, "I probably agree with you, Tim, on this," and opened the door to allow Tim to agree now with JD Vance. Yeah. And as soon as he started doing it, JD Vance stopped saying, "I agree with you." Like he just walked him into it and then was leading him around the ring. And
yeah, he's really practiced for sure.
Yeah.
And Walls was like, he was completely out of his element.
One thing I was noticing was how well timed Vance was.
Yeah.
That he would come around to finishing his point with about 1 second left on the clock, and the moderators would go, "Senator, your time is up."
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then they had to stop doing it because she did it 3 times when he had finished and was just staring at her like, "Yeah, I fucking know."
I'm done. Yeah, then they fact checked him when they said, "We're not going to be fact checking you. That's up to you guys to fact check one another." And then they proceeded to fact check him. And good on him for like saying, whoa, hold on. You said you weren't going to fact check, so I have to set the record straight. And they tried to cut him off, and then eventually they cut off his mic. But he got his point out at that point.
Yeah.
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 Good. I have a feeling that when Biden did so poorly at the debate, and they said, "Okay, we're going to tap Kamala," I think they probably said, "Okay, we've lost this one. Let him back in. We're going to put up a fight. We're going to make it as outrageous as we can. We're gonna call him all the bad things in the book. We're even gonna, vaguely threaten that somebody should try and kill him." But yeah, we've lost. The only way we're gonna win this now is if Trump dies before the election. And so that's what they aimed to do by getting 2 BlackRock assassins, MK Ultra assassins, to try and take shots at him, and they both failed. If they do try again, my guess is it's probably going to be poison. So I would hope that they've got really good protocols in place for that. Yeah, I have a feeling they knew once Biden fucked up that they're like, we're not going to win this one. We're going to basically make a big flamboyant show of it. And yeah, and I have a feeling if Biden refused to step down, the people are talking about, they would have 25th Amendment him. I have a feeling they would have just killed him. They would have killed him and said it looked like a heart attack because they have a drug that can make it look like he died of a heart attack. They would have killed him, said, he suffered a health complication and he died. And then Kamala would come in, right? And then it would be legit. But
apparently
he agreed to step down. So the threat of the 25th Amendment wasn't it. It was the threat of, we'll kill you. You will die if you do not step down.
There was apparently a release of some audio recording from the plane. Remember, he was in Vegas and they're like, "No, everything's fine," but they flew him to Delaware out of nowhere, unscheduled. And that's when he was disappeared for like a week, and then suddenly he's out of the race. People are suggesting, based on the audio recording, that they drugged him, dragged him to the plane, and kept him drugged for the whole week to fake his withdrawal.
Yeah.
Just to get it done. Because, like, this is something I've suspected for a while. I'm sure people have better details than I do. There's factions within the parties, right?
It's palace intrigue in there, man. And that's the thing. There was the Clinton faction, and then there was the Obama faction. So the Clintons hate the Obamas within the Democratic Party. But here's what I believe occurred. He does really poorly at the debate. They realize they got to get rid of him. Okay. They, like you said, they probably pulled him away for a week. And in that week, they were putting pressure on him to resign. And ultimately, they probably said, you either resign or it ends really poorly for you. And then when it seemed like he was going to resign, somebody in his office released a letter that wasn't signed by him. You can tell it wasn't signed by him. It didn't have a signature. It was somebody else's signature. And then shortly after, whoever was managing his what do you call it? His Twitter account came out and said, "Oh, by the way, I think Kamala will be the best choice." Because at the point that that resignation letter came out, or the dropping out letter came out,
he hadn't been seen for a week. Yeah,
he hadn't been seen for a week, and he didn't say who should replace him. He just said, "I'm not going to pursue." Right. So I have a feeling somebody capitalized on that and had it come out that it was going to be Kamala. My guess is that Obama did not want Kamala, but the Clintons, they wanted to deep six Obama's plans, so they said put forward Kamala.
I think she's
because they figured Kamala can't win.
I think she's a third faction.
You think Kamala's a third faction?
Yeah, not on her own, right? But some.
Oh, she's got people behind her.
Yeah. Convinced her to go along with this.
Yeah.
Right.
Could be.
But the Clintons are now trying to use her to fuck Obama.
Mm-hmm.
But to keep the party intact, it's so bad that even though Obama hates them all, he's fucking touring with her, trying to get her numbers up. That's how fucking bad it is.
Yeah, probably.
Right? It's better that
Obama doesn't have the appeal that he thinks he has. He has the appeal amongst the NPCs, and he has the appeal amongst the DNC rank and file. They all love him.
Yeah.
To him, he's their Reagan, right? He's the best thing that the Democrats ever had. But yeah, before him, Clinton was their best guy. He was the best. He was so good. Yeah, they love Clinton. And Clinton, by all accounts, wasn't as bad a president as Barack Obama. But anyway, let's see. We got a comment from Greater Ajax. I was driving in Wisconsin last weekend, and some loon was on a busy corner with a Harris wall signs bullhorning. So the wife flips him the bird and yelled, "F you," before I could get one finger up. That's hilarious. Yeah, somebody was at there was a college football event in Alabama. A guy who's like, he was there trolling with a clipboard, saying, "Hey, will you sign this to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz' campaign? We're trying to get students on board a registration drive or something like that." And like, no, fuck you. You know what I mean? There was some sort of thing, getting a student group authorized that was like pro Kamala and Walz, right? And so everybody's just telling him to go fuck himself, right? Mm. He did it on purpose. He's like, we're in Alabama. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, I don't think any support for her is legit grassroots. You saw Bruce Springsteen came out and endorsed her, right?
No,
the fake working class dude who owns a giant mansion. Yeah, pathetic. This thing, the only celebrities that really matter seem to be Elon Musk. Oh, and what's his name? Zachary Levi. His fucking Shazam came out and endorsed him.
Shazam, yeah.
Good on him.
Well, and then there was this thing about Bill Murray. And they were saying Bill Murray endorsed Donald Trump, and it's like, no, he didn't. He just didn't? Basically said he understood why people voted for Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah. She's more AstroTurf than an indoor football field. Exactly, yeah. The idea that she's this, she's this great new fresh face. I mean, she's been in politics forever. She slept her way into politics. She slept her way up the ladder in politics, and until just a few short months ago, people either disregarded her or they were complaining about how terrible a VP she was. So now the media is fucking in love with her.
And something strange, I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I saw someone who was saying that they've been asking Kamala supporters, especially the ones who were talking about her record as AG in California.
Yeah.
Okay. Please, I'd like to know what kind of AG she is. Provide me with the transcript of her best trial case. And no one could do it. And then he was like, okay, provide me with any transcript from any case she prosecuted in a courtroom. And no one could do it. It almost seems like she never set foot in a fucking courtroom.
Well, I think
it was deal or delegation, and she never actually went and argued a case.
I think she did. I think she was a legit attorney, but I think the truth of the matter is it doesn't matter how good or bad a lawyer she was. She got where she was by sucking cock. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, she's a prostitute. She prostituted for political power. She prostituted herself for political power. Anyway, let's move on. Something a little bit more local. You've been to Sing Hortons lately?
Actually, no. I was off Tim Hortons. Before it was Sing Hortons. I was off the Tims.
Yeah.
It's bad coffee. It's been bad coffee for a long time, and now it's worse.
Well, and I remember a few years back, people were saying it's bad coffee because they what do you call it?
Lost their beans.
They lost their bean contract with another company.
You know who?
McDonald's.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Pox shared something about the Tim Hortons things earlier this week, didn't he?
I don't know.
I thought he did.
Was it the one of that chick who got fired?
Yeah. And she started.
She asked too many questions. 1, do we only hire Indian people now? Fired.
Yeah. It's true though, right? Well, they're all franchises, and the problem is that the people who bought the franchises were the people who came from India and Pakistan who had money. Where is that? He shared it. I was sure he shared it.
Could have been on X. That's where I've been seeing it. But yeah, she goes on to state how the standards have fallen dramatically.
Yeah.
That they don't clean out the coffee machines, right? So that way they can keep the line moving. They re-brew used beans.
Yeah, that's fucked up. They run the water through it again.
Yeah. They'll use expired fucking ingredients to make sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh, that's
right.
terrible.
Yeah, she's got a picture of it's literally moldy bread that they made a fucking panini with, and you can see the mold plain as day on it, right? What?
It's just brutal.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like, you bring in people who don't have the same sort of standards for hygiene, don't have the same sort of standards for decent behavior, and what do you think is going to happen when they become insinuated into your culture? You see this? Oh, I got to add it. I forget. I keep forgetting how to add it. Yeah, so this is that post you're talking about. I'll make it bigger. I make it bigger. That's not that much bigger. Was a loyal Tim Hortons worker for 4 years. Out of curiosity, asked my manager, why we only hire Indians and I get fired, spilling all the secrets they made us hide from you. There's another picture in this, I thought. Oh yeah, we got to share this. Sing Hortons. There was another story. There was another piece of that. Maybe it's another comment. Like it's a comment. Yeah. They only hire international students and immigrants now. Here we go. Still don't know the exact reason because I'm hearing a lot of different reasons. I heard the government is covering the pay for them.
So not covering the pay, but they do subsidize temporary foreign workers.
Which makes It makes no fucking sense for a place like Tim Hortons.
For anyone. Why do we need temporary foreign workers?
No, we don't. You're right. Especially for things like Tim Hortons, because that's traditionally the job that young Canadians would get. Like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Canadian Tire was doing the same thing.
Well, you know what? Like, if you incentivize bad behavior, you get more bad behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you subsidize, you subsidize bad behavior. It's the same argument against a welfare state and childcare, like government funded childcare for people. If you incentivize bad behavior, you'll get more bad behavior. If you give women money to get knocked up and not marry the father of their children, they're just going to continue to do it. Well, I don't have to work. The government will pay me for every kid I squeeze out, and I'll get food stamps, and I'll get, yeah, that's awesome. I can do whatever I want and still survive. Great.
6.
They're just glorified interns. Same as Biden being a hotshot lawyer. Yeah, Biden wasn't a hotshot lawyer. Hey, Craig and Irving. Hey, 6. Good to see you, sir. Good to see 6. The next 6 minutes here in the stream. Stay a while. If I haven't said it already, like, share, and subscribe, folks. Most of the people who watch me are subscribed, but I'd like to get people who aren't subscribed to watch me. Look, now I lost somebody because I asked them to like, share, and subscribe. From 10 to 9 immediately. Oh well, that's okay. Yeah. So I haven't been to Tim Hortons in a while either. I'm not a fan of their stuff. As a matter of fact, their donuts are terrible. They need more Krispy Kremes around. Because I like Krispy Kreme.
I never cared for Krispy Kreme. Like I was an Eddie Shack guy. Till it disappeared.
Eddie Shack had a donut place too.
Yeah.
And he was the spokesperson for the Pop Shop. Do you remember the Pop Shop?
No.
You're too young for the Pop Shop.
Maybe.
So the Pop Shop was this thing where you go to the Pop Shop. It was a big fucking like warehouse with a little stubby bottles that said the Pop Shop in red and white on them. And they had every flavor of pop you could think of. They had, grape, orange, ginger ale, lemon, lime, all that sort of stuff.
Nice.
And you would basically grab like a plastic crate with bottle slots, and you just fill up your plate. Yeah, you just fill up your crate, and you pay for it. And then you come back next week when all the pop is gone, and you do it again. And they're all sort of like single serving bottles. This place was fucking hugely popular. We used to go there all the fucking time. And when I worked at a gas station in Brawny, I worked at the Pioneer station in Brawny. They were taking Pop Shop bottles. This was before they closed, I think they just closed because nobody was using glass bottles anymore. Once they moved to plastic, the glass bottle thing was just done. And the stupid thing is that the plastic bottles have been the worst thing we could have fucking done. It's just made so much more trash. The idea behind deposit bottles was it was made of glass and they'd be reused again and again and again. Yeah. They just wash them and refill them, right? Why we ever stop doing that makes no sense to me. But
in Winnipeg, it was called Pop Soda.
Okay.
And they delivered.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's an Italian place. Is that where you get your brio and your mio and shit?
No, they didn't have that. It was very yeah. There was a cola, there was a root beer, there was a cream soda, and there was a green. And yeah, they would like the milkman. They'd stop once a week, pick up your empties, and drop off your new case, right?
Yeah. The Pop Shop. Oh my gosh, they're still around. So basically, now they just sell the bottles directly to like retailers and stuff like that. I guess you can order your own. I'll share this real quick.
You know who's on that glass bottle tip though?
Who?
A&W.
Yeah. You
can go into the A&W burgers and they'll sell you a 4-pack of root beer in glass bottles.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, you fridge that. Yeah.
Very similar
looking bottles, but mine said Pop Soda.
Pop Shop. Eddie Shack was like a big proponent of the Pop Shop. We need institutions like the Pop Shop back instead of this shitty Sing Hortons. I fucking love the Pop Shop because I bet you they have like stevia sweetened pop shop now.
Maybe.
But yeah, they had these are all the flavors. There's like a dozen flavors or more. And this big warehouse would be full of bottles of like one flavor. Like all the orange was here and all the lime Ricky was here. And you'd have this big like crate, like a 12 or a 2-4 crate. You go, oh, okay, I want a lime Ricky. Oh, you want a lime Ricky, Mike? Yeah, we'll get you a lime Ricky. Get Dad a cola. I like the ginger ale. I like the cream soda. And they just fill up thing up, and then you go and pay for it. It's just so good. It's like going to the beer store.
Yeah.
Pop.
But you pick your own order.
You pick your own order, yeah.
Yeah.
It's smart.
And you get a 2-4. It's genius.
Yeah. And in those days, that's all kids fucking drank. They drank pop. They drank pop and they drank Kool-Aid if your parents didn't want to buy pop. And sugary, that's why I say I was raised on sugary drinks, man. Like I never drank water. Ever. The only time I drank water as a kid was out of the hose. And of course, there'd be a girl who's in the backyard with you. Ew, you're drinking out of the hose. But yeah, we fucking drank out of the hose all the time.
Fuck yeah.
And I tell you, life was great in the 70s and 80s. It's a good time. But no, we never drank water. For dinner, we would drink milk. I remember I had a friend whose parents were British, and I went over there for lunch one time, and they asked if I wanted to drink tea. I'm like, no, I don't drink tea. And like, these are old English ladies, right? Like, oh, what do you drink then? I said, well, milk. And they're, milk? You put milk in tea. You don't drink milk. You put it in tea. It was like, oh, fuck. Best soft drink I've had in the last 20 years was RC Cola in a glass bottle made with real sugar. Yeah, real cane sugar. That's another thing. High fructose corn syrup here in the West. We've got to get off that shit. So many other ways to make sweetener. Allulose, fucking stevia, monk fruit. And like these things, they're not cane sugar, and they're certainly not fucking high fructose corn syrup. They're much, much better, much less harmful for you. Lower or zero calories in a lot of cases. So anyway. What were we talking about? Sing Hortons? Okay, I'm done with that.
You're done with Sing Hortons?
Yeah, unless you got more you want to say about Sing Hortons.
Tim's was never good. I don't know how to explain it to people.
It was just a cultural thing. It's a Canadian thing. Like there used to be, it used to be like a lifestyle brand almost. When I was growing up, here we're going. It's fucking welcome to Nostalgia Night on Ammunation, folks. When I was growing up, when I was a teenager, there was a Tim Hortons downtown Brawny that was open 24 hours. And it was the old Tim Hortons where they used to make the fucking donuts in the Tim Hortons as opposed to like them being shipped all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So there'd be a guy working the night shift at the Tim Hortons and he'd have a bake order. So he'd be back there baking and then he'd come out and serve you. But he was the only guy there. And so people were sitting they had a bench that wrapped around the whole freaking store. And it had like a little walkway on either end where the guy could serve more coffee and shit. This is how old school this Tim Hortons was. So you'd sit at the bench on these goofy little stools and you'd sit there and you talk about shit. You just sit and talk about fucking hockey. You talk about comic books. Fuck, we got into philosophical conversations with drunk people at like 3 a.m. This is what we would do. This was the lifestyle, or this was just sort of what you did in Brawny when you were a teenager in the summer. You know, you go out to Tim on a Friday night. You didn't have to be anywhere. You go out to Tim's on a Friday night. You stay there till like 1 a.m. and you sit there talking to fucking drunk people and the weirdos who are out at 1 a.m. And you just, it was great times, man.
And you could smoke inside.
They didn't have it fucking glassed off. Yeah, it was great. And then the guy who was making the donuts, he was always this weird looking cat. He always had like thick glasses or bad acne or sometimes both. And he would like come around and he'd, fill your coffee cup or whatever. Oh yeah. And they served you in a fucking ceramic mug too. They would fill your coffee cup. And then he'd go back and he'd disappear for like 30 minutes. Nobody tried to steal donuts or anything. Everybody just knew. You just fucking You wait for him to come back. You go back to 30 minutes to make the fucking Boston creams, and then he'd come back out and you say, hey, can I get another coffee? And he'd come get another coffee. Or sometimes he'd stop and start talking to you about shit. But it was always like you were having a conversation about the liberals and the conservatives or something, right? And he would come in and he'd start talking about fucking Martians and shit stuff. And yeah, I saw a UFO, or he'd say something really fucking off the wall. Yeah. Real sugar tastes way better than high. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Mexican Coke is way better. I'm lucky where I live. We can get Coke, Pepsi, RC, and Mountain Dew with cane sugar in glass bottles. Wow. Where do you live, Greater Ajax?
I can only get the root beer regular.
What was your favorite donut going to Tim's?
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian?
Yeah.
Tell me what a Hawaiian is. Pineapple filled? Is it a pineapple filled?
No. Jesus Christ. It was called a Hawaiian donut the entirety of my life until a couple of years ago when I asked for one and they went, we don't have that. And they call it like a party sprinkle now or something. It's just it's a glazed donut with all the fucking colorful sprinkles.
Oh, okay.
It's a Hawaiian.
I remember they had pineapple filled.
No.
I'm not saying that that's the Hawaiian. I just remember they had pineapple filled. Like it was fake pineapple filling, but it tasted,
sure.
They had all these jam filling, powdered donuts with fillings. And, it was generally raspberry and strawberry were the big ones, but occasionally you'd have pineapple and fucking lemon curd. And yeah, my favorite was always the cruller.
I do like a cruller now. Yeah, as a grown-up, I like a cruller.
Yeah. Back in the day, though, it was double chocolate. It was the chocolate cake with the chocolate glazing on top. I fucking love that one.
No, I prefer the raised chocolate raised, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which is the white donut with chocolate on it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. But but I never cared for Tim Hortons. Everybody's, let's go to Tim Hortons. Why don't we just go to the coffee time? It has better donuts and coffee.
Or country style. Country style better donuts.
Country style, my God.
Yeah, I just think they were a little smaller. Theirs were smaller than Tim's. That was the only thing about them. They weren't really small, but they were slightly smaller than Tim's. Now Tim's are country style size. They're fucking tiny.
Well, it's because they bought all the old country styles.
Is that right?
They took over all those locations. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Every country style that I know is a Tim's now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, fuck Sing Hortons. I haven't gone there in a while. I'm not a big donut eater anymore anyway, because I'm trying to stay somewhat healthy. And if I'm going to get donuts, I'm going to get the really fucking fancy ones at the bakery at the grocery store, because they have. There's also a place in Hamilton called Grandpa's Donuts. These donuts are fucking huge, man. They're the size of like saucers. They're gigantic. Anyway, let's move on.
Are we gonna take this down or what?
Oh, I guess I should, eh? Sorry. What do we want to move on to?
What's next? What's on the docket?
I'm just trying to decide if this is the order to go in. That's not what I want there. Let's get back into something a little bit more political. Let's talk about the wonderful people at the FEMA, the federal. What is it? What does FEMA stand for? Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. FEMA. Those wonderful people. What do you want to say about FEMA there, Mr. Twin?
Well, I mean, you covered it. I made this little meme. Well, I stole a meme and edited it to make it for those private helicopter pilots that are just out there doing their best. Boss is the only one who got the joke.
Born to say FEMA is fuck. Never obey. 19. I'm heli man. What is the imagery from, though?
It used to say born to sleep, awake as fuck.
Oh, okay. So the meme. Okay.
And I just you could see where I've edited it.
Yeah, I can see where you've edited it. Yeah.
Right. Never 410 billion years eternal rest. It's eternal rescue.
Yeah. Nicely done. Nicely done. Six says he's looking to publish a novella next week or next month. Sorry. Good on you, Six. Yeah. Okay. So FEMA. You want to people that they are. Oh, you got another one here? Hold
on. Okay.
When your belt costs more than what you're giving hurricane victims. Yes, exactly. We'll get into that. So after giving Ukraine, was it 1.4 billion more dollars, or Israel 1.4 billion dollars? They said, oh, we're going to give each person $750 right now. Great. Beautiful.
How are you going to give it to them?
Yeah, exactly. They don't have fucking wallets. They don't have you're going to give them cash.
There was is the guy's name Tim Kennedy?
I don't know.
He rescued a couple of people and brought them to a hotel and was going to put them up.
Yeah.
And apparently you can't go in there because the whole hotel is overrun with FEMA agents who have been there for like a week, not fucking doing anything.
Oh, bloody hell. That's brutal. No, what they've done though is just awful. It's like it's almost a slap in the face. And you know what I think it comes down to? They're Trumpers. If this had happened in Colorado or New York or Greenwich Village or Martha's Vineyard, they'd be all over that shit.
Maybe.
I know there's not going to be a hurricane in Colorado, but you know what I'm saying. If something bad happened and people were displaced, like thousands of people were displaced, and apparently they're saying there's like 100 dead. Apparently it's closer to like 900 dead. It's close to 1,000 dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm also hearing a weird thing about how there might be lithium under some of these places.
Like lithium deposits?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they just want a whole bunch of people to die and never come back so that they can just repatriate the land and take the lithium.
Oh, they're just, eminent domain.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, people say HARP was just a myth. HARP was just vaporware. The government doesn't have ways to control the weather. They got a number of patents on it. You know, a buddy on mine on Facebook was sharing is like, hey, like, there's someone like it's a screaming cartoon guy. What's he called? Wojak, screaming Wojak guy. Oh. He's like, the government can't control the weather. And then the other guy, the base Chad dude is like, look at all these fucking patents that the U.S. that have been filed specifically for weather control.
Well, and they've been cloud seeding openly for what, 50 years, 60 years?
Yeah, exactly. Cloud seeding is like old technology, but the chemtrails now that people are seeing, and for years they're saying, no, those are contrails. It's just they look different at different atmospheric pressures. They look different at different temperatures. But no, I guess it's now sort of coming out that chemtrails are a legit thing.
Well, contrails are real, but the French government just openly talked about dumping fucking aluminum oxide into the air and shit. Like, oh, okay.
I guarantee these people, this is on purpose, I guarantee these people will lose their property to the government, either the lithium mine or new migrant-only housing. Yeah, probably both. They'll probably put migrant housing on top of a lithium mine. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Kind of like in Hawaii, right? When the volcanic wildfires or whatever, the wildfires happened in Hawaii, and all the houses with blue roofs didn't seem to be affected.
Jewish space lasers.
Jewish space lasers. That's right.
See, you want to know why people don't like Jews, right? It's because you say Jewish space lasers, and then Jews go, oh, you want to genocide us? It's like, well, I do now.
You have Jewish space lasers. So would Israel come up with that technology? Is that what's going on?
I don't even know. I don't understand the whole Jewish space laser, but the space laser theory.
That's a
Yeah,
legit thing. That's a legit thing. Like they for close on 50 years, so 30 or 40 years anyway, they've had beam weapons forever, like actual beam weapons.
Yeah, but these ones work.
Yeah, no, but I want to no, they've had ones that work. You just didn't know about them. They have ones that could be ground mounted next to a telescope and can take out a satellite from the ground.
Interesting. Because these can be held in a hand and burn through fabrics in like instantaneously, basically as soon as it makes contact,
I know.
unless that fabric is blue.
Oh,
Because
really?
it's a. Have you not seen the
Ultraviolet.
video?
An
Oh shit! I'm
ultraviolet.
gonna have to try and dig up the video. The guy's got a laser. He's got a series of fabrics on the ground, and he just points the laser across, and each fabric lights fire except the blue one, and then it just keeps going. But you can see the light on the blue fabric. It's like, but it's something to do with the frequency of light that the blue is reflecting the heat, and it doesn't catch.
It's probably a UV light, a UV laser, right? Ultraviolet, blue, and blue is in the ultraviolet at the ultraviolet at the that end of that part of the spectrum, the ultraviolet spectrum. But yeah, I would like to. I'd like to see these people brought to justice. You know, it's fucking terrible. The kind of things that people in power think that they can do just because I don't know what they hold the power. What else you want to fuck about FEMA?
That they were actually actively stopping people.
Yes, I heard that too.
Threatening to detain or arrest the private helicopter pilot who he had abandoned some guy because he could only carry so many people at a time. So he took the guy's wife.
Yeah.
And then couldn't go back for the guy. But then I was also hearing local sheriffs from all around were coming into wherever FEMA was trying to pull this, and they were confiscating donated food and water. People were showing up with trucks filled with food and water donations, and FEMA was like, "You can't. No. We have to organize it, and we're confiscating the food and water they brought, and then not distributing it." Local sheriffs have come from all over and have basically said to FEMA, if any of your agents try to interfere with people who are helping, we're going to arrest you. So, yeah, so the helicopter pilots are back in the air again.
Good for them. Good for them. Fuck FEMA. Doing a heck of a job, Brownie.
No, yeah, spent $640 million on housing migrants and giving them, endless food stamp debit cards. And now we don't have any money for the rest of hurricane season. Hurricane season is like about to end. This is the end of hurricane season. Yeah. And it's not even like.
Besides, it's not like you guys. You can just print more fucking money.
No, don't encourage that.
But that's how they do it anyway.
Don't encourage it.
Just print more money. Just go to Congress. Says, yeah, we're going to pass a bill immediately. Return to Congress for an emergency session. We're going to pass a bill immediately to give.
How about you just turn off all the infinite debit cards and use that money?
How about what? Sorry?
Turn off all the infinite debit cards you've handed out to migrants and use that money.
Yeah, there you go.
We know you can freeze the bank accounts.
Yeah. Anyway. People ask me why I'm a libertarian. Why are you a libertarian? Because it's the best. People call us lolbertarians.
Lolbertarian.
I prefer to think of myself as a minarchist. You know what a minarchist is, right?
Yeah.
Limited a government as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something that's not politics related. Prepping for RPG. Okay. So tomorrow, I think I told you in the green room, I'm running a D&D game for some friends out of town. The wife and I are going up to their place, and I'm going to run a D&D game. I haven't run a D&D game in like years, literally years, like in person. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm using the Deathbringer rules adaptation. Do you know anything about Deathbringer?
It's from what I understand, it's a shorthand version of D&D, so you can get started quick and play with brand new players.
Yeah,
perfect.
And it's very grim dark. It basically replaces a lot of the stuff that you would find in the PHP, the current edition PHP. It just replaces it with much more simplified rule system, and it's grimdark. It's pretty gritty. There are no elves or dwarves or halflings and shit. I'm a sextarian. We are awesome. There's no humanoid races like elves and dwarves and halflings and gnomes and shit. It's just humans. Everything else is a monster. There's no alignment, sort of like chart, right?
You just play.
You get corruption. If you do an evil act, you get a point of corruption. If you accumulate 10 points of corruption, you become a monster and you're no longer playing. I control you now. You're a villain at that point.
Cool.
Yeah. There's no dark vision because there's no human races apart from humans. And monsters are really, they're really deadly, and you're really deadly because of this thing called Deathbringer dice. So Deathbringer dice basically takes the place of all the feats and skills and stuff like that. You have your 6 stats. Any roll you make is using the bonus from one of those 6 stats.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this thing called Deathbringer dice, which is a D6 you get at every level. You get at the start of every session. And you gain one every level, basically. Then you accumulate them. So if you don't use one session, you have it next session. So you can have like 6, right? And what you can do is you can spend these to modify a roll, either modify damage you're taking, modify an attack, or whatever you want. Modify a check of any type of ability check. So you can basically, instead of having a feat that gives you a +2 bonus to do something in a specific situation, you can just say, hey, I want to do this thing. And I'm going to spend some Deathbringer dice to do it. And the game master just goes, okay, yeah, if it's really ridiculously hard, you're going to need those Deathbringer dice to do it. I'll give you a target number of 15. And so you roll and you add whatever Deathbringer dice you want, and you get to your 15, you succeed at it. So, yeah. And their reasoning is you have a right to beat the hell out of a goblin with a leg of mutton. So
sure.
The idea is basically it's they call it cinematic advantage as opposed to tactical advantage. So if you say, I want to do something and it's really fucking cool, and here's why it's really fucking cool, the GM is encouraged to say, that is really fucking cool. You have advantage on this roll.
Cinematic advantage.
Yeah. Okay, I want to swing from the chandelier and land on the fucking troll's head and then stab him in the skull with this flaming fucking knife. That's pretty fucking cool. Go ahead. Give it a roll. And if you succeed, I'll give you advantage on the roll to see if you can do it. And if you succeed, then roll to attack, and then we'll see, how much, if you hit or not, right? But yeah, it's kind of a cool little system. And I'm encouraged because one of the guys I'm running is a young guy. He's like 19 or 20, and he's never played an RPG game before, apart from video games. So he's kind of psyched about it. He's even going, hey, you got a 3D printer. If I send you a picture of what I want my guy to look like, can you 3D print it? I'm like, yeah, I can design something and print it for you. No problem. Anyway, so yeah, he was getting really psyched about it. So nice. Play tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be fun. I want to read you something. I've got my miniatures here too. See, I got a little goblin. Hey, my little goblin. How's it going there? Hey.
Oh, cool.
I got some miniatures to take with me. I'm going to open up my Gmail real quick.
So what can you preface this?
So this is going to be the opening of their adventure. And I don't think they watch, so I don't think it's a problem. Here's the opening of the adventure. This is my little opening speech. The sound of creaking metal and wood and sloshy clops of hooves in mud fills your ears and has been near constant for the better part of a week. It's become a drone that puts you in a miserable trance as you travel on towards your fate. The Hepstadt dungeon was not nearly so awful. The only other sound you've heard has been the quiet muttering and giggling of one of your fellow passengers in this prison wagon. Those sounds are strangely absent now, though. This weird little man with his bulbous eyes, broken smile, and piggish nose is strangely quiet. He's fixated on something out the narrow crack of your common cage. At once he smiles, chirrups, and claps his hands quietly like a simpleton. The sword tree! There it is! Master is near! He looks at the rest of you and motions for you to gather near. Trying to break free! He raises his dirty little hands and begins mumbling strange words and sounds of chaos. As if by command, the nuts on your manacles and those of your fellows begin to loosen, and in moments fall from your wrists. He claps his hands quietly again and repeats the gesture, focusing his gaze upon the door. Moments later, something goes wrong. All of the bolts and nuts of the entire wagon have come loose, and the whole thing begins collapsing around you.
Cool.
That's how it's opening. And then they find themselves in the mud outside of this collapsed cage, and they have to fight the guards as 0 level characters. So they have like 3 hit points, 4 hit points kind of thing. And they have no weapons, and they're just wearing rags. And there's 2 guards and a driver. And the driver, I'm deciding, does the driver have a crossbow or does the driver have a blunderbuss? I'm like, a blunderbuss would be cool, but the problem is if and when they kill him, because they probably will, then they have a fucking blunderbuss, which is a very expensive item in the game. So, and there's 0 level, so I'm thinking maybe it'll be a crossbow. So then, yeah, they basically have to fight for their freedom at 0 level with maybe 3 or 4 hit points, no weapons. I'm going to encourage them to grab some of the debris from the broken cart.
Yeah.
Use it as a club or whatever, and then fight off these 3 people. So I'm thinking, and since it's only 3 players, the wife might join a little later, but she hasn't decided yet. It's only 3 players. That's three prisoners against 2 guards and a driver. I'm like, I might get them to make a second backup character in case one of them dies, and then whichever one survives, that's the one they're going to play with, kind of thing.
Oh, just have extra NPCs that go their own way after.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I could do that, but then I don't want to act. I don't want to have to act them out. I think this way they could sort of look invested in either one, and then
no. But like, okay, so one guy you don't know ties up that guard, and they're fighting. So what do you do over here? Like, you can just push them in the corner now.
Yeah, but I also know. I get that, but I'm thinking I don't want to. I want to make it seem threatening, and I want them to have some investment in trying to overcome it. And I think it would be really impactful if one of the 0 levels dies in the very, very first fight, because then they'll know how fucking dark and gritty the game is, and then they'll really want to keep their backup character alive. Even though if it dies, I'm just going to fucking roll up a new character. You'll meet him in Schlossberg, whatever, right? So
make sure one of them grabs one of the wagon wheels, though. Right, because if I've learned anything from the Met Police UK, it's that a bicycle wheel is a deadly weapon that needs to be confiscated off the streets. So a wagon wheel must be even better. I think it tops your blunderbuss. I'm not going to lie.
You know what? It would probably be a good shield. It would probably be a good shield. Now I'm taking a lesson from a guy called Professor Dungeon Master, how in every sort of like combat you should have a timer, and if they don't resolve the combat before that timer goes off,
just leave. Just get up and leave the house. And that's
something bad is going to happen, right? So the thought is, I'm like, okay, so
no, man, no.
What?
No.
What?
Sorry. You know the worst thing that ever happened in fucking sports?
What?
The pitch clock. Wrong game. There's no clock in baseball. Get out. Get out with your clock. There's no clock on this.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. No, but the idea behind putting a timer on it is that it gives them a sense of urgency, and it makes them want to keep combat moving, because combat can get really, really slow, right? We got a couple of comments here from Six. I wonder what an RPG based on my books would be like. Yeah, well, you should write one. Any chance you could work the word niggardly into the game? Niggardly, meaning miserly. Yeah, that's what niggardly means. It means to be kind of cheap, not want to.
I think it's an A, but not an E.
Yeah, it's not an E in niggardly. It's niggardly. Yeah. You hear about this was a few years back. A senator was forced to apologize for saying niggardly in the proper context. This is way back. And he said, "Lo, I was speaking. We mustn't be too niggardly, meaning we mustn't be too miserly, right?" And because he has a good vocabulary, people got all offended. So he's like, "This is what it means." Like, and of course, the African American people in Congress were like, "Yeah, but you said it on purpose, even though you used it in the proper context for what it means. You said it on purpose because you knew it would make us angry." Well, no, it wouldn't make you angry if you knew what it meant. You're angry now because you didn't know what it meant, and you made me look a fool. That's why you're fucking angry.
And now if you back down, you look a fool.
Yeah, exactly. I read a story, an online story. I don't know the veracity of it, but I read an online story about how a guy was working as a writer, a technical writer for like some company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was writing a report about one of the chapters and the approach. And in his report, he's like, "I think we should change the language here. We don't want to be seen as pedantic." And people read pedantic, and they assumed he meant pedophilia, and that he was a pedophile, and they asked him to leave. And then he explained to them, like, "Look, pedantic just means to be like kind of overbearing in your teaching style or instruction. You're being kind of like a what's the word? You're treating them like they're a child when you're trying to instruct them. You know, you're talking down. You're talking down to them." And they said, "Well, we don't care. We don't think that's appropriate here." And they fucking let him go.
Man, it bothers me that people who grow up speaking the language aren't fluent in English.
Right.
It drives me up the wall.
Yeah. It's true.
Oh, so okay. I guess this is a good enough segue into my oddity.
All right.
I was just it's a weird thought thinking about you know, those people from the prison experiment where Tim Pool is on this all the time now.
Oh, it's like a reality show, right?
No. This thing about how would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. That like the reason there are a lot of people that are often thought of as psychopaths are actually just incredibly stupid. They're just so unintelligent they can't entertain a hypothetical. So
Right.
how could they have empathy for another person? You can't
Right.
imagine. Right, you know?
Yeah.
But then I was also thinking of the Dunning-Kruger effect, and the two things came together in this great way, right? How to describe, how to demonstrate for someone what the Dunning-Kruger effect is. So go ahead and ask me how I'd felt if I ate breakfast.
All right. How would you have felt if you didn't have breakfast yesterday?
But I did have breakfast. Keep asking, keep asking.
Yeah, but how would you have felt?
Why are you saying I didn't eat breakfast? I did eat breakfast. So that's the regular way. Now this is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Ask me again.
How do you think you'd feel if yesterday you hadn't had breakfast?
But I did eat breakfast. Gotcha.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You said the prison experiment. I was thinking about this thing I saw. There's like a reality show on right now.
No. It's strange because I was reading about this on 4chan a few weeks before Tim Pool got a hold of it.
Oh, okay.
Right. But yeah, like the guy goes into great depth about some of the things that he's doing and like how you're like the simpler tests for IQ right off the bat. right? Like, quickly write a story with 2 characters who have dialogue.
Okay.
Okay, so next level is write a story with 2 characters who have dialogue, but in the story, one of those characters writes a story with 2 characters who have dialogue.
Yeah.
Right. So you DM, you already did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, but some people, like, can't do it. Like, they just yeah.
Yeah,
There's the
they
thing
can't think
about
about it.
describing to someone an arrow that grades from yellow to green at the point, and now you superimpose that arrow on a street so that the bottom of the arrow is at house 1 and the top of the arrow is at the highest number along the street.
Right.
Right? So at 75, what color is the arrow? They can't do this. They can't figure out the gradient and they can't follow all the imagery.
Right, right.
So there's a but the base one, how would you feel if you hadn't had breakfast? But I
Right.
did eat breakfast, and they're mad because they can't, like, they just don't have the brain capacity.
Yeah, but I mean, like most people, like, I'd probably be hungry. You probably would have been hungry, maybe a little bit grumpy.
So again, that question of that one,
Yeah.
if they can't answer it or they keep insisting they did eat breakfast,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's a person with a sub 80 IQ.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. I should
Yeah.
ask my dad that. My dad sometimes plays dumb. If I asked him a question like that, he would act confused. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
The
He
quick
probably his first answer was, but I did eat breakfast. That's probably what he would say. That would be the first thing he'd say. Like, oh, I know, Dad. I know you did. But just imagine that you didn't. How do you think you would have felt at that time? He'd probably go, oh, a little hungry.
you should people should start taking this to dates because some people can trick you into thinking that they're smarter than they are, right? But you just ask that question real quick. So,
Yeah.
how would you feel if we hadn't just eaten dinner? But we did eat dinner. Just get out. Just get out. Just leave.
Yeah. What you want is something pithy. Like, you mean we just sat here and looked at each other for an hour? That's a
At least that would be better.
yeah. Like, we didn't have dinner. You mean you didn't have the entire date? Or we just sat here in this restaurant with not ordering food and just sitting here and looking at each other for an hour?
Oh, that's still a better answer, Six.
I would be pissed. I love breakfast. Breakfast is pretty good. We had breakfast for dinner the other night. You ever have breakfast for dinner?
Oh yeah.
I fucking love it. It's such a good meal for dinner. And I ate it just before I went for a workout, so I felt extra strong because I had all this fucking protein in me. It was really good.
Oh yeah, because I'll fry up a bunch of bacon and then pour the pancake batter into the bacon fat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you kind of want the batter to float in the oil. You don't want it to touch the pan. Yeah. Same with eggs. When you're frying eggs, even if you have a nonstick pan, you should be putting something in there because what you really want to be doing is poaching the eggs in the butter or the ghee or whatever it is you're using. Because they're not getting heat directly from the pan. They're getting it from the substance they're in.
Yeah.
They should call it oil poaching or fat poach. A fat poach. That's what they should call it. They shouldn't call it frying. How would you like your eggs? I like a fat poach, please. Yes, sir. We'll fucking poach it in oil. Poach it in ghee.
Just bacon fat.
Yeah, that
So
works.
that was my oddity.
All right, that's your oddity. All right, let's move on. What else we got? Gotcha. What else we got? I love eggs, grits, and more eggs. See, I've never had grits. I don't think I'd like it though, because I don't like cream of wheat. I don't like, I don't like cream of rice. I'm not into like porridges at breakfast time. What I do like though is creton. Have you ever had creton?
I don't know that word.
Creton is it's a meat product that they serve in Quebec all the time. It's basically pork that's been minced and what do you call it? Cooked in milk, right? And it becomes very salty and like pasty. And you add it onto your toast with a little bit of mustard. It's fucking delicious, man. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, not a big fan of grits. We had for ours, we had eggs, hash browns, bacon, and beans and toast. That was our breakfast for dinner.
Decent.
Not bad.
It sounds like shit on a shingle, your creton.
That's good. Who said that, Fox?
No, 6.
6. No, it's good. I'm telling you, it's good. If you like salty meat. Yeah. Where'd you go? He's gone. Twin left me. He's in the green room. There you are. Where'd you go?
Right.
That's okay.
I'd hork that crap out.
Oh yeah, you got that cough going.
Did pretty solid there for over an hour. That was nice. All right.
Let's where's my
You say you feel trapped in a man's body.
Well, sometimes I get the menstrual cramps real hard.
True news. It's time for true news, everybody. Did you hear about Ubisoft, right?
No, what happened
Ubisoft,
with Ubisoft?
It's come out. It's come out apparently a whistleblower from Ubisoft. Was showing about all these different organizations within the company. Like they had a trans organization, they had like a black women engineer organization, they had like a two-spirit fucking organization. They had all sorts of different like little orgs for little cliques of the disenfranchised and the marginalized peoples at Ubisoft. And Ubisoft just let this thing, sort of fester. And of course, it's what's ruining their fucking company now. Anyway, all this stuff came out the other day, and people are all upset about it because, like, some people are, oh, that's not true. None of that's true. This guy's like, look, my Photoshop skills are not that good that I could fake fucking internal documentation from Ubisoft to other, because this wasn't just like emails. This was memos. This was chat fucking logs and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. And internal like intranet sites that they have for people at Ubisoft. So I guess you can make like a page on the company's internal website saying join this group, come and join this group, kind of like a community message board. Anyway, all the troons were going crazy there at the Ubisoft. I'm sure there's other stuff in the true news sphere. Let me see what's going on with Billboard Chris.
6 says Ubisoft may have ties to the CCP. A lot of woke stuff may trail back to the CCP. Well, you know what? Ubisoft doesn't have as many ties to the CCP as the Canadian fucking government. So
yeah, well, it's in Montreal, right? So here's a 40-minute of truth about the biggest child abuse scandal in the history of modern medicine. Here's my full speech from Calgary. It's a 40-minute speech.
Well, yeah, we can't.
I don't think we can
run a 40-minute speech, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, but this is a like enormous money-making scheme.
Yeah,
right. I mean, it's just big business, right? And then people are like, "Well, you got to trust the science and trust doctors." Fuck you! You mutilate children now. Like you've lost all credibility. Forget the history of doctoring. Oh, you trouble breathing and your testicles hurt? Let's just rub mercury on your chest. That's going to help. Leeches, heavens no. The science has come a long way from the days of bloodletting. Anyway, you've got ghosts in your blood. Here, do some cocaine. This is the history of medicine. And now they're saying, what's that? You think you're a girl? Well, we got to do an orchiectomy. Invert your penis and shove it up there. Oh, and you think you're what? Well, we're just going to lop your tits off, take a chunk of your thigh muscle, and maybe some processed cadaver tissue to help build a cyber penis. Just like, oh, yeah, no, this is trust the sun. This is medicine. It's like butchers.
They're all butchers. You're absolutely right. Okay, we're going to watch a little bit of this this speech from Billboard Chris. What I have to admire is such a measured speaker, and he's a soft-spoken guy, but he doesn't sound like weak. You know what I mean? Okay, here we go.
So my name is Chris Elston. I'm known as Billboard Chris, and I'm traveling the country, literally hanging out on street corners and going to busy events, going to wherever the people are, just have conversations about gender ideology, mainly medical harm that is coming to kids when they want to switch their sex. Because we have children who are being indoctrinated either in school or primarily on social media as well, to believe that it is stereotypes that determine their sex or their gender. So overwhelmingly, it is supportive. At least I would say 9 out of 10 people support what I'm doing. People know instinctively this is wrong. We should be letting children grow up because it's not stereotypes that define who they are. If a child is gender non-conforming, we should just encourage that. That's fine. You don't need pharmaceutical drugs, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries to find your true inner self. But people understand.
That's a good point. You ever see that Rogan clip where he's talking to that guy? Is it Eric or something? Ruins everything.
Adam.
Adam ruins everything. Yeah, you see, where he's talking to Adam ruins everything guy, and Adam's trying to. Okay, so basically, it comes to a point about gender and gender dysphoria and stuff like that. And he says, so Rogan says, so you don't think it's a choice? It's like, no, not for people who suffer from gender dysphoria. No. So go, yeah, but doing the surgery is a choice. It's like, well, no, because you have to do the surgery. And he's like, well, wait a second though. Why is it that, like, if a boy thinks he's a girl and he wants to live as a girl, why can't you just let him live as a girl? Like, why do you need the surgery if you're already affirming their belief? It's like you could just affirm their belief without cutting parts of them off. What is that about? What is so necessary about that portion of it? And he didn't have an answer.
Oh, wow. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I found a thing. I've got a thing.
You want me to stop this and then share yours?
Well, you don't have to stop it. Actually, you can have both things still in the queue here. Okay. Yeah, shit. Okay. So I was just something popped into my head there that is just funny. Affirm their belief.
Yeah.
Where that wasn't it. Fuck. Where did I put it? It's this one. Affirming their belief is a phrase that's coming from people who are obviously.
Do you want me to look at it?
They're what's that?
Do you want me to share it?
I will in a second. I just wanted
to
talk about that terminology. Affirming their belief, right, is synonymous with feeding their delusion. And what's really funny is that this term, affirm their belief, is clearly coming from people who don't have any kind of religious beliefs. They're devout atheists, and they think that, like, you believe in a magical fairy sky daddy. But for these people who have lost their fucking minds, we have to affirm their belief. It's just, and this guy just did this thing that, like, made me fucking Oh yeah, terrified me. So hold on, I've got to get the volume ready. Now I'm going to try and present this. Can I even do that? No,
yeah, you can.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, you present
okay,
it. It should show up in my queue, and then I can look at it.
I know. It's just I always have that problem where the sound doesn't go.
Oh, you got to click that little thing, yeah.
But it's a tab. You can't share a window with the audio. Okay. Because I know there's a couple of good Christian folk in the. Oh yeah, this might convert you on the spot, Craig.
Yeah. Satan would kill God if he could, but he can't. So he kills babies because he knows it wounds the heart of the Father. Absolutely. And causes chaos on the earth. You see, abortion is actually the sacrament of Satan, because abortion says you must die so I can live. But Christ says, no, I must die so you can live. And chooses to enter human history in a uterus of all locations to redeem mankind from their sins. That's why it uses the same holy words. This is my body, but with the opposite blasphemous meaning. Do you think it's a coincidence that the central phrase of the entire abortion industrial complex and the culture of death today are the same words of our Savior in the First Communion, this is my body? And because Planned Parenthood is not only the largest abortion provider in the world, they're the largest provider of transgender drugs. They call both of those mutilations health care. Did you know this? What do they call transgender surgeries? Gender affirming. What do they call abortion? Reproductive. Right. They call them both health care. And so if they can't get the babies in the womb, they'll get them outside the womb. They defend both practices using bodily autonomy arguments. This is my body. It is not a coincidence that the argument for abortion is quoting the words of our Savior. Abortion.
Interesting. It's pretty profound.
If by profound you mean severely fucked up, yeah.
No, I mean observation. It's a profound observation. All right, I'm going to play a little bit more of this.
Understand this. People are supportive. It's just most of the supportive people are quiet. I'm just going to keep traveling the country, keep having these, because I know eventually we win this battle. It's just a question of how much damage is done to children before that happens.
Oh, you're getting me emotional already. So my name's Chris. I've been on a unique mission for a little over 3 years to raise awareness about what I consider to be the greatest child abuse scandal in modern medicine history. Our national treasure, David Menzies, just did a phenomenal job exposing the absurdity of all of this. But unfortunately, this goes beyond just the absurd, and it goes into tremendous child abuse. In North America, and back when this video was shot, I was just traveling Canada, but since the borders opened up, I've been traveling into the US and I'm traveling across the world now as well. But in North America, more than 300,000 children have been diagnosed with this condition called gender dysphoria, which is essentially just self-loathing. These kids want to switch their sex. And it's primarily girls. It's girls when they're getting into middle school, getting into high school, where, shocker, it can be a tough time. Puberty's not always the most fun thing in the world. And these kids are being led to believe that the source of their discomfort is that they were born wrong. They were born in the wrong body. What does that even mean? Nobody can tell you. I've been out on the streets for more than 2,500 hours.
Yeah, that's always been the crazy phrase to me, born in the wrong body. Well, what do you mean you're born in the, you think you reside in your body, or you are your body? You are in total your body. It's not like a vehicle you ride around in. You are your body. Well, so what you're saying is you are wrong. There's something wrong with you. And I guarantee you there's nothing physically wrong with you, so we need to take you to a psychologist. And that psychologist doesn't need to affirm your care. That psychologist needs to figure out what's wrong, why you feel this way about yourself.
Well, I noticed this with the body positivity movement, the massive disconnect between self and body, as if, it's somehow a separate entity.
Yeah.
Right. And it's because they don't use it. Like, they don't engage in physical activity pretty much ever.
Stop denigrating my meat mech, bigot.
And like, because they don't use it, they don't know the joy of being so fucking exhausted but finally finished that you can roll over on the cold tile and just let as much of your skin touch the fucking cool floor to get and just breathe for a while, right? They don't know that experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to think that it's somehow separate from you, you know? Like,
Right.
you know that thing that people will say sometimes, like, oh man, I hurt in places I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
Right? They've never had that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the whole body positivity thing breaks down for me. Is like, okay, if we're supposed to embrace people of all shapes and sizes, regardless of their, how heavy they are, why does it never extend to people who are anorexic? They don't believe that should be something that lifestyle should be protected.
Because disgustingly fat people hijacked the movement from burn victims and amputees.
Oh, really?
Literally, body positivity started as a thing for burn victims and amputees.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to hide it, right? And
that's right. It was typically men who suffered from gender dysphoria. And a lot of the men it turned out it was just autogynephilia.
Yeah.
So yeah, this whole trend that he's talking about, it does come down to puberty being an awful time, particularly for girls. For guys, it's kind of embarrassing. For girls, it can be awful, right? So,
but also this glued to the screens, not being physical. That you're separating yourself from your body as if you're inside it.
Yeah.
You know, because
at university campuses, having one conversation at a time to raise awareness about this scandal. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, not one person in this world can tell you what it means to be born in the wrong body, because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as a transgender child. They're called girls and boys. And the positive message we should be sending is that they're beautiful just as they are. No drugs or scalpels needed. But Canada, unfortunately, under our authoritarian dictator, Justin Trudeau, we are the epicenter for this trans insanity across the Western world. What does it mean to have a gender identity?
That's a good point. Sweden basically has gone a complete 180 on it, eh? The whole gender ideology, particularly with children. It's now become
weren't they also the first ones to not lock down, and they never had lockdowns for COVID?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
they suffered no more or less deaths from the illness than anybody else. So yeah,
and they're also trying to now remove the kebab.
Oh, good for them.
They're paying them to leave, but they're doing it. And I'm certain they've.
I have a feeling that as the West, I don't think they're alone. I think a lot of Western countries are eventually going to come to this conclusion. They're going to say, yeah, you know what, we've got to send some of these people back. Like there's too many of them. We can't do this.
Well, it's not that there's too many of them, it's that there's too many of them that hate us.
Well, this is it. But I mean, the idea, they're a completely disparate culture, right? We don't have as much in common with them as, we necessarily need to in order to get along and function properly together. Right?
But it seems that they're collecting the data and going along with what the data suggests rather than, what activists are screaming from the sidelines.
Right.
Which is a good thing. If a little late, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Let's keep going.
Guess what? We don't have one. But our kids are being indoctrinated on social media and in schools to believe that they are. If we can go to the next slide, please. So this is the genderbread person. It's a gingerbread man, but you don't want to give it a gendered name, of course. And it defines your gender identity right on there as being based on your personality, your job, hobbies, likes, dislikes, roles in society, and expectations upon you. Tell me, what does your job have to do with your gender? I'm born in 75. When I grew up, we kind of got away from all these stereotypes and we taught our girls they can be whatever they want to be when they grow up. And they can be, they just can't be a man. But this is all stereotypical nonsense. Your hobbies? What the heck's that got to do with your gender? How many women here were tomboys growing up? Congratulations, you're all transgender. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from one of the greatest experts in the world. Boston Children's Hospital is the number one ranked pediatric hospital in the United States of America. Actually, they're number 2 now. And I'd like to think I had a part in that downgrade. But last year, in August of 2022, I tweeted out one of their own videos that their gender clinic had produced about how they perform gender-affirming hysterectomies at the Children's Hospital. And we'll get to that video in a second.
That's fucked up. It's a children's hospital, so typically they treat adolescents and below, right?
Yeah.
A hysterectomy on an adolescent?
So remember that video I just shared?
Yeah.
And always ask, does it make more sense if this whole thing is organized by Satan-worshipping pedophiles? If the answer is yes, then it's organized by Satan-worshipping pedophiles.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
But this video started to take off. It was getting a lot of views. Some media were picking it up. And I thought to myself, I'd better record this. It was from Boston Children's Hospital's own YouTube channel. I thought I'd better record this because they're probably going to delete it. Sure enough, that night they deleted it. So I tweeted out my recorded version. I sent it to Libs of TikTok, this popular account on Twitter. I sent it to Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire, the guy who made the great film, What is a Woman? They retweeted it for me. And this video went viral because people, I think, knew that there were weird things going on in these gender clinics at these children's hospitals, but they didn't really understand exactly how ghoulish this was. But this first video here is from the director of the Gender Multi-Specialty Clinic, the top-ranked gender clinic in the world, probably. So let's hear from her what it means to be transgender.
A child will often know that they are transgender from the moment that they have any ability to express themselves, and parents will often tell us this. We have parents who tell us that their kids, they knew from the minute they were born practically, and actions like refusing to get a haircut or standing to urinate, trying to stand to urinate, refusing to stand to urinate, trying on siblings' clothing, playing with the quote opposite gender toys, things like that. There is more and more a group of adolescents that we are seeing that really are coming to the realization that they might be trans or gender diverse a little bit later on in their life. So what we're seeing from them is that they always sort of knew something was maybe off and didn't have the understanding to know that they might be trans or have a different gender identity than the one they had been assigned. So that is a growing population that we are seeing, and that's being recognized as being trans and able to be treated.
That's fucked up, man.
Basically, if they behave like children, they're trans.
Yeah. Knew practically from the moment they were minute they were born. Like, what are you talking about? How could they? And the guy, well, doesn't want to get a haircut. Kids never want to get a haircut. The first time they get a haircut, they think that it's something going to be terrible. They see these fucking scissors and shit. Then they realize it doesn't hurt. And they're like, oh, whatever. Fucking ridiculous.
No big deal. If you're playing with the wrong toys, you can be treated for that. If you're a little girl that pees standing up because you got some big brothers and it looks fun, and I can attest it is fun. Well, gosh, maybe she's transgender. If a little boy has some big sisters, shocker, they're going to play dress up with their little baby brother. That doesn't make him a girl. Let's go to the next video, please. And I'm going to cut this one short because I can't stomach all of it, so I'll tell you when.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So when you see little kids, right, little boys, and they walk into the room and they're wearing their mother's heels, right? There's a reason why they're wearing their mother's heels. They went into the closet, okay? They saw daddy's shoes. They saw mommy's shoes. They probably tried daddy's shoes on first, realized they just fucking fall off because they're too goddamn big. And then they realize, oh, I can fit my whole foot in the front of mommy's shoe. And yeah, I can move around in these. And that's why they fucking walk into the room with mommy's shoes on. Because mommy's shoes fit little baby feet. Daddy's shoes don't. Doesn't mean your kid's fucking trans. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Also, they think they're like a mech now. Right. You know, with like
a duck and looks like a duck, it might be a Satan worshiping pedo. Yeah, could be. Sorry, you were saying?
Oh, no, that they walk like a mech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have a weapon on the back of the heel now, right?
That's right.
It's dangerous.
It's true.
So most of the patients that we have in the GEMS clinic actually know their gender, usually around the age of puberty, but a good portion of children do know as early as seemingly from the womb, and they usually
it's fucking horseshit.
Express their gender.
You gotta laugh at some of this stuff. Seemingly from the womb. Children know they're transgender. Are there transgender fetuses? I bet the Democrats wouldn't be okay with aborting them in the 9th month of pregnancy. This is totally insane. Let's go to the next video, please.
Gender-affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur. Hysterectomy.
Except we're doing it on children.
Hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus. Some gender-affirming hysterectomies will also include the removal of the ovaries, but that's technically a separate procedure called a bilateral oophorectomy. And not every gender-affirming hysterectomy includes that, and people who are getting gender-affirming hysterectomies do not have to have their ovaries removed.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Like if you fucking get it, in for a penny, in for a fucking pound, get it all done. Especially since the Canadian government would be paying for it here. So,
butchers.
Well, isn't that a relief? This is a children's hospital, and it's not the only one. Tens of thousands of children, thousands and thousands of children in Canada are going to these gender clinics at your local children's hospital. There are waiting lists. The demand is so high. Just this week, you can look this up on your phones afterwards. The Children's Hospital of Winnipeg announced, and they're proud of this. This is their own press release on Twitter. There's a 10-year-old boy who wants to transition. Now, in their own write-up, they mention that he's concerned that he's not going to be able to have babies in the future. But that's okay, because he has dreams of being a world-famous actress when he's older, and he won't have time for babies anyway.
Terrible.
This is a poor little 10-year-old boy with crazy parents who's been deceived to believe that he's really a girl. And crazy parents are going along with it. But where there's no excuse for any of this is when the health care officials go along with this. Not only do they go along with it, they push it. A bill passed in Canada last year. It's called Bill C4. It passed unanimously. Now, I don't know if the member of parliament that was here earlier is still here, but Bill C4 made it a crime for any of you to convince your child or your grandchild that they're a boy, if they're a boy, or if they're a girl.
Yeah, so you can't actually, it's illegal to convince your child that they are cishet.
Yeah, it's only conversion therapy if you're trying to convert them to normal.
Yeah. Fucking bizarre. Is that Zinch? Gotta change? Or Dark Lord?
Yeah.
Zinch, yeah. Fucking Zinch worshippers.
It's okay to convince your little girl that she's really a boy and turn her into a lifelong pharmaceutical patient. It's not okay if she's been indoctrinated at school or online. It's not okay to object to sterilizing your own child and to help her feel comfortable with her sex. That's now called conversion therapy, and you can go to jail for 5 years or get a $2 million fine. This passed unanimously.
Unanimous assent.
Formerly, this was Bill C6. And when the election was called in 2021, all bills die, of course, so that bill never passed. It had already passed the House. It hadn't yet passed the Senate. At that time, I think it was 62 Conservatives voted against it, about 50 voted for it, and of course all the other parties voted for it. One of the Conservatives who voted for it was Pierre Poilievre. Pierre's got some work to do on this issue. A lot of people just have faith that when he gets elected, he's going to fix all these issues. Well, only one time, and it was just about a week ago, has he ever even mentioned the words gender ideology.
That's a good point. I watched a video today where someone was praising the fact that he was being interviewed by a CTV reporter and asked about his stance on, gender affirming care and all that sort of stuff and gender identity. And he said, look, I have a common sense approach, and it's women's spaces should belong to women. And then she asked again, are trans women women? He said, look, like I said, it's a common sense approach. The women's spaces belong or should be designated for women. Women's sports should be designated for women. It's why we have men's and women's leagues, because men have physical advantages in some cases when it comes to women in sporting events. So it's common sense, and women's spaces and women's leagues should be for women. He wouldn't address it directly, and this guy who's doing the YouTube video was praising him for sidestepping it. Just come out and say it. Just say it. No. People who think they're women aren't women. Only women are women. If that's what you believe. But it wouldn't hurt you the way you think it would. That's my point. Poilievre's a piece of work, I tell you what. Anyway, I don't want to watch the whole thing, but you can see what I'm saying. Billboard Chris is a very well-spoken, very collected individual. And okay, maybe he does sound a little bit weak and feminine, but
you know what? You can't be, though, if you're going to put on a billboard and walk around the streets. Like, no. I mean, we all saw that Die Hard movie.
Well, that's right. He's a tall guy. I think that helps. But also, I think that it helps that most people are still reasonable and not fucking insane.
Oh, he's been attacked multiple times, though.
He has, when he goes specifically to events where fucking insane people are. But just walking down the street, most people, they're like, oh, yeah, okay, I know that. Hey, that's Billboard Chris. I see him on TV or whatever. Yeah. Anyway. I'm going to stop sharing. And that, folks, is your true news. Let's move on, shall we?
Oh, that's so disgusting. Oh my God, that's the worst thing I ever heard in my life.
Well, let me tell you about space lasers.
Time for Jews news, Mr. Twin. What's going on with the Jews?
Yeah, let me tell you about space lasers a little more.
Jewish space lasers. See, this is a
Look,
song
I mean,
Fox has to put up. He has to create a song now. Fox has to create a song called Jewish space lasers.
Israel apparently has a right to exist, apparently has a right to defend itself, and also apparently has some sort of claim to Syria now. That Jewish scholars are trying to make the argument that, look, it's here promised us in the Bible by God. Syria actually is Israel. Also, Ukraine.
Really?
Yeah. Well, okay. Ukraine is greater Israel. It's
there you go.
It's not of the Israel promised in the Bible, but Syria, yeah, they're now trying to make biblical arguments or Talmudic arguments that Syria is actually part of Israel.
Interesting. You know that Iran sent a pile of rockets at Israel not too long ago, right? You heard about that?
Yeah.
So World War III, baby.
Well, I mean, Russia's moving on defending
I would not be
now.
surprised if there's a nuclear response. It seems like when it comes to Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu has decided that this whole thing that's going on is going to be a series of ever escalating dick wagging. You know what I mean? Like, he just brings out his dick, a bigger dick every fucking time. He blew up a bunch of pagers. I think there could be a nuclear attack on Iran. I think it could happen.
Hold on. I heard this. They intercepted those pagers. They apparently have had an intercept route since like 2015.
Sure.
But these pagers, not only did they intercept pagers and booby trap them, they sold them to Hezbollah.
Of course. They got money for it. Absolutely. I would too. That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, Russia's moving to defend Syria now.
Well, yeah, because they're allies. So
I don't recall hearing Syria launching attacks on Israel.
No.
But But
they'll argue, yeah, but Syria is a state sponsor of terrorists such and such who are affiliated with Hezbollah.
See, but there are refugees who are leaving Lebanon into Syria. So they attacked the border crossing, Israel. They bombed the border crossing, saying goodness. That's where they bring weapons in.
Oh, okay.
Into Lebanon. But there just happens to be, thousands of refugees there at the time.
Brutal. Brutal. And that's your Jews news, folks. All right, let's move on. We've already done Irving's oddities. Let's do Pox Toxic's toxic takes. I'm sure he's got a few in here somewhere. Let's see.
Zero state solutionist.
What's that?
Zero state solution. That's
yeah. All right, there's a song from the amazing Pox Toxic. We're going to share this real quick.
The AI maestro.
Yes, that's right. He is the AI maestro. There's a little song called Seethe Hollywood. I've not heard it yet. So this is new to me.
Good. Did you forget to share it? You forgot to share it.
Oh, fuck. I didn't share it again. God damn it. I fucking hate this. You want to share it? Are you sure you want to share it? I'm driving me nuts. Okay. Here we go. I got to rewind it now. Damn it. Right, here we go. Shut up! Hollywood streets of your existence! Don't
Hollywood sees as your existence. Do nothing, do what? Heading up the movies. Hollywood sees as your existence. Go on the internet and see search guys and search gets cancelled. What's a movie? You actually like it. Hollywood sees as your existence. They make a sequel dedicated to singing about you. You let it go, do not you want. Do not. Do not, do not, do not, do nothing. Do not, do not, do not, do not. Only one sees that your existence. Do nothing, do nothing. Only one sees that your existence. Do nothing, do nothing. Only one sees that your existence. Do nothing, do nothing. Do what's really on the movies. Hollywood sees as your existence. Go on the internet and see sky. Censor get cancelled. Watch a movie, you actually like it. Hollywood sees as your existence. They make a sequel dedicated to singing about you. Do nothing, headphones. Do nothing. You what?
Beautiful. That's fucking beautiful. You know what that's about, eh?
Oh, a bunch of things? But that's a green
bunch of things, but the movie they're talking about at the end, they make a sequel, don't go watch it. They fucking fail. You win. Joker 2 is apparently a hot fucking mess piece of shit. And they basically made a movie I haven't watched a lot of the reviews on it. But apparently they made a movie to thumb their nose at the people who like the original one.
Which just seems ridiculous. Like, and you know what's crazy is I heard someone saying that they heard that and that makes them want to go watch it more.
Yeah.
Even though this person was a fan of the Joker.
No, like why you want to go see it now? Hey,
yeah,
come here. Come here. I want to slap you in the face. Hey, you remember that movie you really like? Come here, I gotta slap you in the face. Whack. Why would you come here? Fucking don't go.
Guess what, straight white men? This movie isn't for you.
Oh,
how come straight white men don't want to see this movie?
We should watch. We should watch what's his name's fucking Critical Drinkers review of it. I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Let's see if I can find it here. 1 sec.
No. As soon as I heard it was a musical with Lady Gaga, and it was like, well, that's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Critical Drinker. All right. Oh, it's a short one. Good.
Make sure you share it, though.
I will. I will.
I liked the Batman, though.
The what?
The Batman.
The Batman. I didn't see that one. Are they in this?
What? No.
Are they in it or something? Or
no. I was just thinking of like DC Universe movies.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not what I want to share.
The sequel nobody wanted.
Exactly.
Wow, I guess time really does make fools of us all. The first Joker movie was one of those rare moments of cinematic serendipity where everything that should have been wrong somehow came together to become absolutely right. A low-budget origin story about a Batman villain that nobody asked for, directed by a guy best known for making comedies that proved the law of diminishing returns, and shadowed by media accusations of promoting violence, misogyny, and generalized buffoonery. It was a film that seemingly had everything going against it, but somehow turned out way better than it had any right to be. In a sea of oversaturated CGI sludge, the Joker dared to tell a small, intimate, complex story of a man pushed into madness and...
Yeah, and you know what? Joaquin Phoenix really deserves all the credit there. He was fucking phenomenal in this role.
Despair by a society that was blindly indifferent to him. A movie with a wonderfully unreliable narrator, driven by a superb performance by Joaquin Phoenix, and an ending that left the audience with more questions than answers. It was a perfect one-and-done movie that told its story and told it well. No need to do anything more with a character like that, because it would just cheapen the experience.
Exactly. Why do they feel the need to make sequels of things that don't need sequels?
So, like the rest of you, I was a bit perplexed when I found out that Joker was getting a sequel, and even more concerned when it was announced as a musical co-starring Lady Gaga.
Fuck.
But just like everyone else, I tried to suppress my doubts and ignore that nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach that this movie was fundamentally a bad idea. Surely to goodness Todd Phillips knows what he's doing and wouldn't just shout out some lame cash grab sequel that undermines the integrity of the original, right?
Wrong.
Then I sat down and watched it. And if all 2.5 hours of Joker folie à deux proves anything at all, it's that sometimes you really ought to listen to your instincts. Yeah, there's definitely good elements in there. You can see that talented people were working on this movie, and the ending is definitely going to get people talking. But overall, Joker 2 felt like a dull, bloated, and ultimately unnecessary movie that failed to answer the question that's dogged it since the beginning.
Why the fuck would you get Lady Gaga? She's not an actress. Oh, wait.
Or attractive.
She's a Satan worshiper. That's why.
Yeah, that's it.
Does this film even exist? Now, I know it's just come out and I don't want to spoil it for people, so I'm going to keep my plot summary short and sweet. Unlike this fucking movie. So with that in mind, let's go. The story picks up shortly after the events of the first film, where Arthur Fleck has been arrested and locked up in Arkham Asylum while he awaits trial for all the murders that he committed. His lawyer wants to plead insanity, while the prosecutor Harvey Dent's pushing for the death penalty. Bad times indeed. But while he's at Arkham, he meets a young woman named Lee Quinn and soon starts a bit of a romance with her. But is it really Arthur?
Lee Quinn? Come on. Harley Quinzel was her name.
That she's into, or his Joker personality.
What's that?
Doctor Harley Quinzel.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's her true motivation for being there? Well, you'll have to wait and find out. Anyway, the case goes to trial, and Arthur's soon confronted by the reality of what he did in the first film by going over most of the key events again. But how responsible was he for what happened? Was the Joker really a split personality that took over him, or just part of him all along? And what will Harley Quinn think of him when she finds out the truth? Joker 2 is kind of a frustrating movie to watch because in a lot of ways I can see how hard many of the people involved are trying to make it work. Joaquin Phoenix delivers the same intense, compelling performance as the first movie, arguably a bit too similar, but we'll get into that one in a minute. The point is though, he's definitely given the role his all and some of his scenes are genuinely compelling. Lady Gaga, much to my surprise, also turns in a good performance as a crazy superfan enamored by the flamboyant persona of the Joker rather than the flesh and blood man behind it. And if you're inclined to look for themes in this film, it's an interesting insight into the intoxicating danger of celebrity and the vast gulf between myth and reality. The two actors play well off each other, and the kind of twisted romance they cultivate seems pretty appropriate for a movie like this, and the film even has you questioning which of their interactions even happened for real.
That's it. Yeah, that's the cool thing, because, I mean, which is good because you saw in the original one that he imagines a lot of what you see on the screen.
Yeah. There's even a sort of reference to this in some older comic books where Wonder Woman gets him with the lasso and tries to make him tell the truth.
Right.
And he just says no and throws the lasso off. And she goes, "What the fuck? How can you do?" He's like, "I'm out of my mind. I don't know what the truth is. That won't work on me."
There you go.
Doesn't do it as effectively as the first movie, but it's something at least. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that the comic version of Quinn was more like the Joker's plaything rather than a manipulative femme fatale stringing him along. But again...
Well, yeah, but this is for modern audiences.
It probably fits with what we know about this version of Joker. And I guess that brings me along to my criticisms, the biggest of which is the deconstruction of Arthur himself. The ending of the first movie saw him fully embrace his Joker persona, shedding the last remnants of his old, weak, victimized personality and embracing the madness of the world around him. It was a logical endpoint for a man who had been desperately trying to swim against the tide for most of the film, and it was kind of cathartic to see him finally let go. It was a final fuck you to the world that had kicked him to the ground again and again, a world reduced to fire and chaos. All of that good work seems to have been undone here, because for most of the film, he's reverted to the same weak, timid Arthur that he was at the start of the first movie. And I can't shake the feeling that there's something almost mean-spirited in that kind of deconstruction, as if they're taking a swipe at the audience themselves for liking someone they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, that's the point, right? Remember all the rhetoric about, Joker's like the incels, fucking 300, right? Like the incels are gonna love this. Be careful. There's gonna be shootings at the theaters and all this sort of shit. Of course, none of that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just feels like character regression instead of development for me. Then there's the musical numbers that pepper the narrative. I can't believe I'm saying this because normally I fucking hate musicals, but I actually kind of enjoyed the sheer spectacle and performances while I was watching them. Gay! And Lady Gaga clearly doesn't have any trouble belting out her numbers. But the more I think about it, the more I see them as shiny objects trying to distract from what's actually a pretty stodgy, bloated, and uninspiring drama. The courtroom scenes are basically just a dry recap of the first film, telling us things that we mostly already know, and destroying that awesome sense of ambiguity and unreality that made it such a fascinating story to pick apart. Now we know exactly what did and didn't happen, and shit, man, it feels like such a waste. And most disappointingly of all, I actually find myself kind of...
Yeah, see, that's the point, because nobody seeing this movie has not seen the first one. You're not going to see this just on its own.
Bored and checked out at times, something that absolutely never happened with the original movie. As I said before, the question hanging over Joker 2 was, is this a story that really needed to be told, or is it just a bunch of talented people doing their best to elevate a studio-mandated sequel into something that it isn't? Well, now that I've seen it, I'm afraid I know the answer, and it's not a good one. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I like his reviews.
Decent. There's some lore. I can't remember where it comes from. If it comes from a certain comic arc or from the cartoons, that they had to stop trying to psychoanalyze him while he was locked up in Arkham, because people were like trained psychologists and clinical psychiatrists were killing themselves or hurting other people or just quitting.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with him. They can't pin down a single thing that's wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it's driving them crazy. And it's in the cartoon is actually, I think she's the only character created outside the comic books that became canon.
She's created from Batman the animated series. That's right.
Yeah.
Penguin is a good show. I've heard that too. Penguin is a good show. I've heard it. It's quite good. Yeah, which is surprising because I don't like movies that are about the villain. Quite frankly, a Joker was an anomaly, probably because it was kind of loosely tied to the universe. It didn't seem like it was part of the regular cinematic Batman universe. It seemed like it was.
Yeah,
it was almost like an Elseworlds. It's like an Elseworlds title kind of thing,
See, but that's the same thing with The Batman.
Yeah.
With Robert Pattinson, Shovelface.
Yeah. Shovelface.
I don't know how he earned that nickname, but he's Shovelface. And man, I really liked that one. I liked it for a lot of reasons. And yeah, you really ought to watch it. I think it might be my favorite Batman, which means that Robert fucking Pattinson is my favorite Batman.
Yeah, I don't know. He's all right.
It's not because he's so good at it. It's because the whole thing is so really well fleshed out, and it is that alternate universe type thing, right? Like,
yeah, I would agree. I didn't really like any of the more recent cinematic Batmans. I like the original Michael Keaton one, the Tim Burton one. I really do. Like, to me, it's a comic book movie. The other ones, they try to be something other than that.
This goes, okay, no, you're right. They tried to bring Batman into the real world.
Right.
And this goes back to the comic books, but it goes back to Frank Miller comic books.
Yeah.
So it's got a Sin City grit all over it.
Right.
And while it is a detective story, right? So like hard-boiled detective working the case kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's still a comic book. And kind of outlandish at times, but like and it's sort of like a horror movie, except Batman is the thing that goes bump in the night.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good. It's good. I really liked it.
Cool.
You have to watch it so we can talk about it.
I think I've seen it. The Robert Pattinson one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. I still like Michael Keaton. What can I say? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? We did everything. We've done everything.
Yeah. And we're hardly over at all.
No, we are. It's actually, just a little bit over.
Hardly.
You know what? No one tells jokes anymore. I don't know if you've heard this or not. But yeah, no one's ever tells jokes anymore. You got a joke for us this week?
I don't have a prepped joke.
I've got one.
Hit me.
You'll like this one. Why does Jack Daniels come in bottles?
I don't know. Why does Jack Daniels come in bottles?
Because his wife left him.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You can do that with Jim Beam.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels. What's another one that's named after a dude? Captain Morgan. What's another one? Jim Beam, Captain Morgan.
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Elijah fucking
Elijah Wood's not a booze.
No, it's not Elijah Crane. What the fuck is it called?
I don't know. Glenn Fittich. Why does Glenn Fittich come in back? Anything Glenn Fittich, Glenn Levitt?
No, I think that's a Glen, like a Dale, like a
I know,
place.
but it's also a name, right? Hey, why does Glenn Levitt come in bottles? I don't know why does Glenn Levitt come in bottles. Because his wife left him. And then all the fucking snobs will go, Glenn Levitt is a place. It's not a fucking guy's named Glenn. Fucking snob. Just enjoy the joke.
We need Jameson's first name, though, 6. Otherwise.
Jameson. He's like Prince. He's just got the name Jameson. It's Jay Jonah. All right, folks. I think we're going to call it a night there. It's after 12. I have to get up early and get ready to go and play some RPG. DM some game. Should be fun. Y'all take care of yourselves and have yourselves a great rest of your weekend.
Good night.
Good night.
Hail Sigmar.